Is it ready?
13, 12,
Yeah.
11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Coming up on this week's episode of Aftershock, our reporters find a unique music spot, Andrew tells us about space, Zane checks out a local food truck, and much, much more. What's up, Cypress Bay? I'm Giovanna Sheldon.
And I'm Ava Pounder, and the best of Aftershock
Starts now. Hey, what are you listening to?
Jazz music.
Are you like 70 or something?
No, but Duarte's segment really opened my eyes to jazz music.
All That Jazz restaurant opened in 2013. Most places like this usually don't last more than 2 years. It's a difficult business. Anytime you put live music and live jazz into a place.
This is a great place. I've been here, coming here for years. And sometimes when you come here, they have different groups, different singers or different musicians, which is so nice.
This is a wonderful club because we get to express ourselves. I'm a percussionist. My favorite idiom to play in is jazz. Compared to like country western music or basic rock, jazz is just this wonderful, wide open, expressive platform. Total freedom.
You know, jazz is something you have to, you grow into and you like and all that, and I think it's wonderful.
You never know what you're gonna play. You have no idea what you're gonna play until you do it. So it's very spontaneous.
With most music, you're hired to be exact and precise and always be exactly the same, almost like a machine. Whereas in this type of music, you're supposed to be creative.
It's great. It's the interplay. You hear the bass player do a lick and you mimic it, and you hear the piano do a lick and you can mimic that, and then when the saxophonist starts playing, you can start building the sound, the volume. That's what it's all about, just the conversation.
Whatever we did tonight, some of these songs we probably played, I don't know how many thousands of times, and it was a total new adventure tonight, even with the same people. Because it's a conversation with the other musicians, just like a talking conversation could never be repeated the same way twice. So. It doesn't get old, it doesn't get boring, and that's why every time you play it's a whole new experience and you really enjoy it. It's an adventure every time. Yeah.
Why does your ID say you're 5'7"?
Because I am.
Okay. Let's see who else at the Bay is lying about their height. What's up, Cypress Bay? I'm Giovanna Sheldon, and I'm here at the Cypress versus Western game to find out if you guys are lying about your heights. Let's go. Do you think that people lie about their height?
Yeah, 1000%.
No, I don't.
Yeah, of course, this one.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
How tall are you? 5'6". Can I check that? Yeah. Oh, you're barely 5 feet. That's not true. This is wrong.
Why you always lying?
How tall are you?
5'10".
Can I check that? How tall did you say?
5'5".
I think you said 5'10".
5'5".
How tall are you?
5'10".
5'6". I think you lied.
I don't know how tall I am.
Okay.
I know I'm like near a meter and 70 centimeters, but I have no clue.
What is this? You're 5'7". How tall are you guys?
5'4".
I'm 5'5".
I actually need to
know my height. I don't know it.
Oh, so I'm your doctor now. You're like 5'3", 5'2", 5'2", 5'2".
Are you serious? I'm 5'2".
Ooh. Oh, okay.
How tall is she?
You're like 5'5" and a half. Oh, actually? Well, it looks like most of you guys aren't lying about your heights. I'm Giovanna Sheldon, CBTV.
Many people believe the moon landing was a hoax. One piece of evidence to back this is if you look at the pictures, there's no stars in the sky. This is not because Stanley Kubrick forgot there were stars in space. This is actually because of the black sky paradox. Before I tell you why there were no stars, let me give you some context. In 1955, the space race began. The United States and Soviet Union were competing to see who could get to space first. The United States could have just faked it and won the race to scare the Soviet Union. But that doesn't explain why there were no stars in the photos. The answer is actually really simple. With no atmosphere on the moon, the sunlight is not diffused and it's very strong, meaning from the moon's surface, everything is super bright. For the astronauts to even be able to see, they needed very dark visors built into the helmet. This also meant for the camera to be able to see, they had to turn the image very dark. So the sunlight was so overpowering that you couldn't see any of the stars. Imagine trying to take a picture, but there's a flashlight pointed at the camera. You'd have to lower the exposure to be able to see anything. If they hadn't lowered the exposure, this is what the moon landing would have looked like. This means either the moon landing was real or Stanley Kubrick is just a genius. My name's Andrew Dunham, CBTV.
Everyone knows how much work and effort it takes to run a business, especially when it's moving around.
But little by little, your efforts become grand.
Our reporters covered a restaurant that pays homage to their homeland.
Food trucks have been in the rave for the past few years. Number 5, please. But this small business is driving little by little to achieve success in the industry.
The name of the business is Arepa Santa Barbara.
What exactly do this business sell and how?
So it's Venezuelan food, but from like Maracaibo, the Maracaibo area. It's like arepas, cachapas, patacones, is like that side of Venezuela's cuisine. So basically, my dad used to have it like a while back, like in Venezuela. And when we came over here, he was just testing stuff over here. He was traveling back to Venezuela. He had still his businesses over there, and he was basically, and he like first he was delivering pizzas here. That's where he started.
Although starting from scratch could be a challenge, Andrea's father grew his food truck and his dream.
We started in a rented one to like test it out, like test out the waters. And then once my dad was like, okay, I think we could do this, he bought one. And after like a year or two in just one, we got another one. And we just go to different apartment complexes, and that's how we like grow. Most of it has been little by little. It hasn't been like, oh, just one thing happened and boom. It's been like progressively over the years.
However, for Arepa Santa Barbara, they are not settling there.
Our plans for the future is basically, as of now, staying the same, just trying to expand the food trucks more, so that in the future, my dad would want to open a restaurant, but to make it less of a hit and to make it progress easier.
His father's mentality traveled to his son.
Don't let the rough patches get to you, and always just try to push through it, and you'll end up succeeding.
Although they are taking it slow. Thank you. Marcus and his family are expanding one arepa at a time. Reporting for Student Television Network, I'm Zane Vidal.
Everybody has a story, but how will you let yours shine above the rest?
We believe that every student has a chance to ignite their story, and that's why we're hosting the first ever Lightning Film Festival,
where students like you get to showcase their talent and spark their creativity.
Submit your best work into various categories and get the chance to see your films on the big screen.
Submit your film today and ignite your story.
Ignite your story at Lightning Film Festival.
My picture's like the wrong size.
Do you have it in the right aspect ratio?
I have no clue what you're talking about.
Well, don't worry. Brian's here to tell us all about it.
For years, everyone has known that black bars make everything more cinematic.
Today, I'm going to talk to you about aspect ratios. For those of you who don't know, that's the number produced when you divide the width of the screen by the height. The result you get from this are the black bars you see either on the top and bottom or left and right of the screen. Nowadays, the prevailing aspect ratio is 2.35 to 1, aka CinemaScope. But how did it get so popular in the first place? To see that, we're going to have to go back to the golden age of Hollywood. In almost every classical movie you see, the aspect ratio is 1.37 to 1, aka Academy ratio. This box-like frame let filmmakers not only use width, but height to their advantage. Let's take a look at my favorite shot from the movie Seven Samurai. Look at this. The director uses the height of the frame to tell you everything you need to know. The poor villagers in the bottom, the samurai above, and at the very top, right in the middle, the grave with the sword in it. This single shot tells an entire story on its own, which was very common for films using Academy ratio. That was until TVs came along in the 1950s. TV screens had basically the same aspect ratio as Academy ratio, so big movie studios decided that they needed to come up with something different. In came widescreen. There was everything from 1.85 to 1 all the way to 2.76, with the most popular being CinemaScope, 235. People loved it. This new horizontal frame allowed for wide landscapes and sprawling ensembles. However, many classical directors had to learn and adapt to this new style. I mean, imagine that shot I showed you from before in widescreen. It just wouldn't work out. Instead of using height to their advantage, directors had to use width, either separating their actors on opposite ends of the screen or completely spreading them out across. Widescreen films began to dominate most of cinema, which meant that TV studios really wanted to be able to show them off on their own screens. So, instead of zooming into the movie to make it fit the screen, they just kept it as is and put black bars on the empty space. This is called letterboxing. Since new generations of filmmakers who would grow up watching more and more movies on TV, they began to associate these black bars with making their movies more cinematic, which is why nowadays you'll find that almost every film is made in CinemaScope. Even video games do it to seem more cinematic. However, I will admit, things are slowly but surely beginning to change. With the rise of directors like Wes Anderson and Robert Eggers, Hollywood is beginning to remember the whole point behind aspect ratios: to frame the screen in a way that fits the movie, not just because it's cinematic. Anyways, I'm Brian Bonfim, CBTV.
And now, over to sports.
On February 13th, the Cypress Bay boys varsity soccer team faced off Monarch High School at the regional quarterfinals. Cypress, as always, prepared to give it their all on the field. And they did, pressuring the opposing team and having the majority of the possession of the ball. It was an intense game where the Bay attempted multiple shots, but the Monarchs' defense and goalkeeper protected their net. Cypress's defense stood firm against the Monarchs' attacks, and their offense relentlessly pressed forward in search of a goal. It was Matias Pacheco's strike that made all the difference, leaving the score at 1-0. Throughout the game, both teams displayed incredible skill and determination, thrilling the crowd with their fast-paced plays and strategic maneuvers. As the game came to an end, Cypress Bay got their well-deserved victory thanks to the goal from Matias Pacheco and an assist from Maximiliano Martinez. Although their season is over, this team should be proud of all the amazing games they won. I'm Samantha Duarte, CBTV Sports.
Hello there. Sorry, I may have come a bit out of left field. But you know what's also unpredictable? The Jobby line. And I'm here to explain it to you. Let's go. The Jabilani was the match ball used in the 2010 World Cup in South Africa. The reason for its unpredictableness comes down to how it was produced. Normally, soccer balls are hand-stitched from 32 panels. These hand-stitched panels give the ball some regulators, meaning it's not perfectly round. Well, Adidas wanted to improve upon that, and instead of stitching, they used a new technology called thermal bonding. They also reduced the amount of panels to 8. In doing so, they created the most round soccer ball in existence, with almost none of the imperfections a normal ball would have. With these innovations, they theorized the ball would move faster and be more reliable in flight. But it acted like a paper airplane. You threw it in one direction, only for the wind to take it in another direction completely. When kicked, due to its almost perfect roundness and smoothness, the ball had a much higher chance of what's called knuckling, which is where the ball has little to no spin and can move super unpredictably, causing all kinds of crazy moments at the 2010 World Cup. Counterintuitively, the solution was to make the ball slightly less round and more rough, thus decreasing this phenomenon of knuckling. Well, it seems like the imperfections with how soccer balls are made are actually its greatest strength. This has been Reese Gibson, CBTV. See you next time.
Here at Cypress Bay, we have hundreds of clubs.
Many have amazing stories on how they got started.
Male dove deeper into the history of the Hope Sunshine Club.
Here at Club Love Day, organizations join together to do activities, learn, and gain new members. But there's a certain club that can bring sunshine into your day.
Well, literally, Hope Sunshine is, Hope stands for helping overcome problems effectively. But we usually serve as a mental health club, just general mental health topics, helping high schoolers deal with whatever stress they may face just because they're high schoolers. Usually what we do in a meeting is we try to have an educational discussion, whether it's very serious topics like depression, anxiety, suicide, or more lighthearted topics like managing school anxiety, managing just what's on your plate.
I felt excited when...
But there's more than meets the eye when exploring the truth of what this name stands for.
So actually it comes from a student who went here who lost his life to suicide. He was actually one of my former students. So his family got involved with the Hope program that already exists and built it, and they changed it to Sunshine. Sunshine was his nickname. He was super outgoing, popular, involved, seemingly had everything going for him. Seemed like we called him Sunshine because he was just so much fun and energetic and not the person that you would have expected to have taken their life. And that's part of the reason why we have the club, is that you never know. The whole purpose is to give that hope, to give that positive spin and network. And I think that adding the sunshine kind of gives that a little bit of the positivity and the word hope as a name.
Hope Sunshine definitely has improved my mental health. It provides stability. We meet every Wednesday, and to have that in the middle of each week, it really helps me get through the week, just to have that consistency and that place that'll always be there for me. It's really a space that I love being in, and I look forward to being after a difficult day at school. I can always count that I can go to Hope Sunshine and my friends will be there to comfort me.
We never know what anybody's going through. You never know what is happening in somebody's life, so it's always better to be nice and understanding. There's no reason to make life harder. We're all just trying to get through it. But also, if any students are looking for a group of people who are just nice people, accepting, warm, come to 440 on Wednesdays, because that's what we do in here. We literally talk about being the better version of ourselves.
Sunshine's memory will always live on with the heroes that help him shine. I'm Maria Ojeda, CBTV.
That's all for this week's episode of Aftershock.
If you'd like to watch previous episodes, check out our YouTube channel at cypressbaycbtv and follow us on all social medias. I'm Giovanna Sheldon.
And I'm Eva Pounder.
Thanks for watching.